Rise and shine, rise and shine. Look at this. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and I thought I'd jump on with you and share some insight into dating, into achieving success, and managing expectations. I built a website called addictedtosuccess.com 14 years ago. We've had wild success with it, and we've reached like 372 million views. The podcast is at like 6 million plays and downloads. It's put me on stages around the world and front cover of magazines and TV interviews and things like that. And ultimately the greatest thing that's more fulfilling is relationships in my life, and I was always somebody at a young age that craved to be in a relationship with somebody that I could call my best friend. And by the grace of God, I am right now, married to my beautiful wife, and he's definitely blessed us. God has blessed us. But it wasn't always like that. I was in a long-term relationship. We're together for like 5 years. This is with somebody else when I was younger, from 22 to about 27 years old. I'm 36 now. And I had built my company while I was in that relationship, and I had achieved a lot of success. She ended up actually cheating on me, and our relationship fell apart, naturally, as it does for most people when that happens. And I found myself in a place where, after I worked through the healing and the forgiveness and just piecing my life back together and revisiting my vision and all of that, like, that's part of achieving success, is making sure you stick to your vision, right? I had to recraft my vision without her in it. What I found was I got into an interesting space because I didn't know what it was like to be in the dating game with the success that I had, because I was always in a committed relationship. And, I started dating, and my childhood wounds came to the surface. They first came to the surface with her cheating. And then after that, I went out into the dating world, and I had a lot of attention, like more than I'd ever had before the success. And I didn't really have game. I don't know if you want to call it game, but I didn't really have like true confidence, right? What I had wounding from the past. I had a fear of abandonment. I had anxious preoccupied attachment style patterns coming up. If you don't know what that is, one of my good friends, Tace Gibson, she's a great mentor and just a great friend of mine. She teaches about attachment styles. And so for me, this was all new to me. I was in coaching, and I'd learned a lot of modalities and coaching frameworks and tools, but to find out what my attachment style was, and to find out that my fear of abandonment created a need for control, and it created a need for me to be validated and approved and confirmed by my partner. This was all new to me, and it's from childhood. When I was a baby, my dad worked a lot, and I wanted my father, and I didn't spend much time with him. So he was what you would call, at the time, not now, he's amazing and such a great father, but at the time was like dismissive. He was leaving the house a lot and wasn't around as much, and wasn't open emotionally as much. And I was looking for that love in my father, because every child wants to be seen, heard, and understood, right? And so I got to have a forgiveness conversation with my father, saying, I forgive you for not being there and all that. And we had such a great transformational moment, and it was really healing. And with my mom, I've always had an incredible relationship with her. For me, it was really just trying to always live up to my mom, right? Like, my mom was such an angel, and it's like, I'm not perfect like my mom. So the perfectionist patterns came up for me. And, when I have a look at the world of personal development, and even the celebrity world, like in entertainment, because I used to be in the music industry, and in like Hollywood and that, a lot of these people that are really famous and have done really well with their ambitions, they tend to have some wounding too around this, like needing to be perfect. It can be a driver, but not when it exhausts you, not when it brings you into states of depression, not when it gets you acting up and acting all weird and controlling yourself and affecting relationships. That's when it's not a good thing, right? So I would say that, no matter how much success somebody has, like paper money and investments and the big business and the fancy cars and all the other things, they can be just as insecure or more insecure than your average person. It's just that they're better at hiding it, right? So for me, I just couldn't hide it anymore. I had to open up and be accountable and admit, hey, I got some things here that show up for me. I get stressed when I'm in relationships because I'm scared that person's gonna leave me. I try and get everything right in relationships and fix everything, and that keeps me in relationships that are not good, staying past the expiry date. So if you're watching this and you have maybe had some form of success and you've led with the status or the business success or the money or whatever, and you're wondering why you just keep going into patterns in relationship where you're not able to have a great relationship, or you just keep getting your heart broken, or maybe you keep breaking hearts and you're being dismissive and pulling away from all these people. Relationships aren't easy, but they can be worked on. And it starts with you, right? So I wanted to share that because that was something that was really challenging and very real for me. That, I think a lot of the time you just think that if you just achieve a certain amount of success, then all the other things will fall into place. Nothing could be further from the truth than that. Like that's one of the things that I think is sort of misleading in culture. And people think if they just get money, their life will be better. If they just get the business up and running, everything's gonna be good. It's like, no, all these things take work. All these things take time. All these things take introspection. All these things require from you to manage your expectations, right? We can do life good, great, and excellent, but not perfect. And I think sometimes people really obsess over needing to be loved and needing to be validated. But the truth is, if we can't sit down with ourselves and just spend time with us, and if we can't take ownership for the fact that we got some things in the past from childhood that may be affecting our today, then we're not going to move forward. So I want to share that with you because that was a pinnacle point in my life. It was like 5 years ago. I'd broken up with somebody who I thought I could see myself, really just like having a deeper relationship with, and I was like really into her. And to be honest, I was into the idea of her. And I think we do that sometimes, right? Some people get really like into the idea of someone, but not actually seeing them for who they are, right? Maybe that person needs to do some work too. They get to do some healing. And I personally needed to take a step back and go, well, wait a minute, why am I continuing to stay in this pattern when I'm dating and continue to stay in this pattern in relationship where I continue to attract people that are emotionally unavailable? Maybe you've experienced this too. But it was a game changer once I found out that it's because I was trying to complete a loop. And the loop is that I was trying to get the love from my father. Right, for him to see me. And I was dating women that had a similar pattern to my father. Even though I'm straight, for me, I was trying to date women that were in the same avoidance patterns like my father. If I could just get them to love me, then it would make me feel like my father loved me. Right? You hear that? It's wild, right? So when I healed my relationship with my father, literally, I came out of that relationship I was in at the time that I really wanted to work. And I noticed my attraction for that type of person fell off a cliff. Like I literally was no longer attracted to that type of person anymore. It was insane, the shift that happened. And I started to attract a very different type of person. And then a couple years later, I ended up connecting with who is my now wife, reconnecting with her because we knew each other from years ago when she came out to Bali, and we just saw each other and said hi, and it was just a general chit chat like friends. But we ended up developing into a relationship that was very centered, very secure, not expecting that we got to meet each other's needs, even though, we can do that from time to time. We're good at meeting each other's needs, but we just didn't expect that we had to do that. We both worked on our healing, and we've moved into an incredible union together in our relationship with God's hand on it, just blessed. So, what I'm here to say is that all that money, all the business success, and all the status, and however many social media followers you got, and all that other stuff, and the millions of views like I did, that's not gonna make you a healed person in a relationship. You got to actually get down to the business of healing yourself and working with a coach, working with a mentor. So I've been coaching for 14 years. I found out about the attachment style thing 5 years ago, and I've done a lot of work around childhood wounds, trauma, childhood blueprint, shadow work, and things of that nature too. So anyway, if you want to work with me, if you feel like, hey, Joel, you're speaking to me, this is what I'm struggling with right now. Maybe you're a high achiever and you're stressing out, you have fear of abandonment. Maybe you're the one that's avoiding, and you have a loss of self, a fear of loss of self, and you go into self-preservation, you don't know why you do it. Then just have a look below here. You've got my email. Just send me an email. If you want to work with me one-on-one, just hit me up and let's do it. But I more importantly just wanted to share this with you because I know that there are people out there that struggle with this. I work with many of my clients that struggle with this, and we work them through the healing processes, and they become more secure, they become more centered, they become more confident, they become more focused, and they have great and powerful relationships now because of it. So I want the same for you if you've been struggling with this, because it's tough, man. It'll give you some sleepless nights if you don't work this out, right? So anyway, I appreciate you, and make sure you hit the subscribe button here. Share this with a friend that needs to hear it. I'm gonna keep inviting you into my world and sharing more insights that I don't share anywhere else, right here, right now, on this channel, right? Big love. I'll speak with you soon. Ciao.